Here's how to submit a business request to the legal department with Co-Flo. You can access it via any internet browser on any device. Preferably, you can save the site as a favorite in order to have easier access to it. Once the request page has loaded, you will see all your previous requests indicated in the request list. In order to submit a new request, you can click on the Submit Request button on the top right corner. A menu will then load, allowing you to choose which request you would like to put through to your legal department. In our case, let's choose a new contract and document request. A form will then load for you to specify the information required by the legal department. The little asterisks next to fields show which of them are mandatory fields. Also, take note of the information icons next to certain fields. If you hover above these icons, it will give you more information about those fields. For the request subcategory for our legal department, let's select New Contract. You can then specify additional details for the request, like business unit. After selecting your business unit, the department field will appear, allowing you to select your relevant department based on your business unit. For this instance, we will choose the Compliance Department. Then I can specify what contract type I would like from the legal department to be generated. And we will select MSA 1000 as the contract type. Once that is selected, you could see that another tab has popped up between request details and supporting documents. Let's finish filling in the request details before moving on. Next, we will fill in the requester details, which is one of the mandatory fields. There is no need to scroll through the entire list. You can type in your name to speed up the search. From there, we can specify the request date from the drop-down menu. Afterwards, we can add the date on which the contract is required. These following text boxes are multi-line text boxes, meaning I can add more information to help my legal team further understand the requirements of the contract. Similarly, the history and background on matter is also a multi-line text box, but you can see that it's not mandatory. The counterparty name field is a search and create field. This means that you can search for certain values that are in the drop-down menu. We will search for Carlo in the drop-down menu. Since he does not exist in the amongst the values, we can create a profile for Carlo Pagani. This will prompt a warning notification to verify whether we want to create this value in the counterparty field for future use. With that done, Carlo will now be available in the Search and Create box. Now, we move on to whether this is an existing matter, and we will choose No, as the matter code may not be readily available to us. When selecting the General Manager field, make sure you are selecting a GM that is linked to the business unit, which we selected above. As for the priority and legal entity, these are not mandatory. However, if you have this information, it's best to provide it in order to simplify the request procedure. When we add the legal advisor, preferably we should look for the legal advisor who is assigned to the business unit selected above. The contract administrator and contract administrator email fields are also search and create fields. However, this time we will just choose from pre-existing values in the drop-down menus. For the matter type, we will simply select the commercial value, and for the matter subcategory, we will select agreements. You can then give your matter a name that aligns to it. We will also keep the matter status as active. Moving on to the MSA tab, you will encounter a group of unpopulated feeds. If we were to click on Save, we would notice that the mandatory fields will appear red and not allow us to continue. Let's quickly populate some of these fields by adding the contract number, the type of legal entity, and the registration number. We will skip the country as that is not mandatory and move on to the supplier address. We will populate these mandatory fields with all the information that we can. Finally, we can select the various fields which affect the clauses related to the contract. We can also add supporting documents that the legal team might want to take into consideration. Then, we can simply click on the Save button. After the saving prompt disappears, you will see that a new contract request has been generated. Your contract will then be ready for review. The rest of the process will be left to your legal team, who will review your contract and aim to have it ready according to your requirements. Co-Flo, collaborate effortlessly, centralize seamlessly, and work easily.